I am a Mocha mom, and I am back to talk homeschool through high school. I found it to be a very difficult transition for me because I had been comfortable in working a certain way and found it to be hard to let go and rephrase my thinking. Success for me came when I became more flexible, when I decided to think outside of the box and stop trying to shove my kids into a cookie cutter situation that I was seeing in the schools and around me from my friends. I had to really look at what their specific needs were. And I had to abandon the thought that homeschool meant that I was doing everything myself. Because while I imagined that I was going to be the type of person who would have the drive to delve deep into their school books after having worked hard all day with the younger siblings and running around doing activities, doing household activities, doing ministry activities, I just didn't have it in me. The last thing I wanted to do right before bed was crack open the Scarlet Pimpernel and read it from cover to cover. And when you're working with academically talented kids, sometimes the teacher's manual approach where you don't have to read all the book that well because, they've created assignments for you that you can kind of follow the skeleton of what you're looking for to grade your children's assignment. That really didn't work well for me when my kids started to think outside of the parameters of what was in the teacher's manual. And I wanted them to have the experience of interacting with someone who had read the book from cover to cover and had more insight on the information than they did. And my kids were calling me on it left and right. That's when I was introduced to the high school, the homeschool umbrella. These programs can work differently, and you can start using them long before high school, depending on the availability where you are. So one level is just advisement, where you have someone who will sit and listen through your plan with you and help you work through what you want to do and get to your goal. So another level is kind of an a la carte situation where, you know, my kid can take this class here, that class there, because I'm not able to teach that, or I want support in those specific areas, but the rest I do myself at home. And then the final level is my kid takes all their classes there. They go 1 or 2 days a week, and the teacher gives them enough work to sustain them all week long. And I join hand in hand with that teacher, the teacher at the umbrella school, to work through my child's curriculum with them during the days that they're not at the umbrella school. But I'm turning over the lecturing component and some of the grading component, because you still have some grading to do at home with those type of programs. And I used to give a side eye. To me, I didn't feel like that was truly homeschooling, but I have come to embrace that resource because my son in ninth grade wanted to play sports. He had aged out of everything that was available through co-ops and community leagues where we are, and he wanted to play on a team. And so we found an umbrella that said if he took one class at the umbrella, he could play on a team. And he loved that. Then when he wanted to take science, he wanted to have a lab experience where he was working with partners, and but he needed it to be rigorous. So it was very difficult for me to find, say, a physics class at the honors level at a homeschool co-op. But I was able to find it from a doctorate level teacher at an umbrella school. And so we were happy to put him in that. And so even his learning style in high school has changed. Whereas in the past, he didn't mind sitting with me and having me spoon feed him some things, he had really developed into a self-motivated and independent learner. And so he needed me to make sure he stayed on course with the syllabus and make sure that he planned his time well to finish the assignments in time. But unless he was having a question with something, or he really wanted to have a deeper discussion on a certain issue or a certain point, he wanted to work more so on his own. And so the more classes you take, the longer the day can look that you're spending at the umbrella school. But for my son, it was fantastic because he wanted to be able to do something on his own without me. And I wanted to be able to have a strong hand in what was happening for him educationally. So I kind of tried things and dropped things. We also tried virtual umbrella schools. There are online umbrella schools that you could use, like the Potter School is a good example. North Star Academy is another one. And there are different levels of commitment for those where but as the homeschool parent, your involvement is much greater than it would be if you had your kids, say, in a private school or in the private school or in the public school. So when my daughter came along, it was much easier because my son had rocked through a lot of the kinks in my mind. But I learned with my daughter, though, that she's not my son, and her needs were completely different. She was looking for more structure. She works well independently, but she craves strong structure, and much stronger than my style of homeschooling. And she was able to get that by taking even more classes through the umbrella school. So they go once a week, and they're there for a school day from maybe 8 to 3:45. And then for the rest of the week, they're home with me, and I'm supervising, monitoring, and supporting the work that they do. And I never imagined that homeschool would look like this for me, or that I could call that homeschool. But it's working really well.